On the 9th review of the International Monetary Fund program, which is set to lapse on the 1st of April this year. According to National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, the time frame before the program comes to an end is not sufficient to complete the review. The government has instead opted for a fresh program with the IMF. However, according to economic analysts, the conclusion of the IMF program now means that in the next financial year, the government will be forced to rely on domestic debt to sustain itself. Here's Jimmy Mbogo.
We can contain the fiscal deficits, not only contain but continue to the fiscal consolidation that the Treasury has been talking about. We will not be able to achieve the kind of low, stable interest rates that are required to really empower and drive economic growth.
Barely a day after the Central Bank Governor Kamau Thuge called on the National Treasury to address the government's credit appetite, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi now says this may be a tall order.
Well, we must live with the reality, and the PS mentioned it. External financing is becoming scarce. It is not an option. You know, if we have options of getting that money, then we can engage into a debate. We don't have that option. Number one, you can see what the US has said, and that is going to impact not just the US loans. I mean the US support, because actually the US was not supporting our budget directly. It is going to impact even any support that we have been getting from Europe.
Treasury further says it is impossible to balance the country's budget under the current fiscal circumstances. According to CS Mbadi, in the medium-term debt strategy, Treasury intends to reduce the debt cost and risk by sourcing 25% of gross borrowing from external sources and 75% from domestic sources over the medium term.
We cannot stop borrowing. It is a lie if we start saying, and Chris there, I want to disagree with you, we cannot balance our budget now. If you balance your budget now, you will not offer services to the people. And no one will accept to pay taxes if they are not receiving services.
Our aspiration is a balanced budget, but we know it's not possible to have a balanced budget. But we have to reduce the deficit. That's why we have moved from 8.1% of GDP in 2021 all the way to 4.9 this financial year, and we are looking at up to 2.7 over the medium term.
In an effort to defend the country's debt level, Treasury notes that the country's debt to GDP level, although higher than recommended, it remains sustainable, blaming negative rating on concentrated maturities. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
PFM ultimately.
National carrier Kenya Airways has posted a full year profit of 5.4 billion Kenya shillings for the year ending